This is going to be our review of the Tomorrow War. And if you haven't seen it, it is an Amazon special. It stars my boy Chris Pratt, directed by Chris McKay. You also got J.K. Simmons' old butt in there looking all muscled up. And you got Yvonne Strahovski. I haven't seen her in anything else. And for those of you that
who else is in there, right?
Who's that?
Aldous Hodge's little brother.
Yeah, I saw that. He looks just like him.
He's a badass.
Yeah.
Wait, which one is he?
He was the one that the black dude.
He's the one that had cancer.
That's Aldous Hodge's little brother?
Yeah, that's his brother.
Yes, I got a picture.
Yeah, that's his little brother.
I like that dude. I've seen him before. Yeah. I like that dude.
I mean, didn't you look at him and think? Didn't you look at him and think, damn, you look like Aldous Hodge a little bit? And I had to look
I was looking at him thinking like I've seen him in other stuff, and I was trying to figure out where I've seen him in other movies, but I didn't realize that was his brother. Yeah, see, I'm all about that nepotism. I'm big ups to him. I hope they have other brothers they bring him in too.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the round table on this great story is that it takes place in the year 2022. Chris Pratt is playing the character of an ex-military person who winds up becoming a science teacher. And they go home, they're having a party, they're watching soccer, and then bam, this chick pops on the screen. She comes through a portal, and I will tell you guys the name of the portal, to warn everyone that in the future they're being ran over by white spikes, which are those creatures that you see on the screen. These white spikes, they are so deadly that they're having to recruit people from the past, ladies and gentlemen, to get in there and help them in the future. And now some people are drafted, some aren't. But most people get drafted and they put on these armbands that get them through the time portal thing that they have to use. And Chris Pratt has a daughter, #GirlDad. Now, this is the particular twist, and then I'll let everybody else go in on the different parts of the story. One of the things that I've seen time stories before, we've all seen Back to the Future. We're now going through the MCU doing their timeline stories. How many times have you seen a timeline story where you have a father with his young daughter, gets pulled into the future, and then has to work underneath his daughter, who is the head of the military medical division and is a sergeant badass herself?
She's a colonel.
Did you hear her name off all those degrees? And he said Cal State. She said MIT.
MIT. And he was like, whoa.
He was like, oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you get through all that to finally figure out what is it going to take to destroy these white spikes. Well, his daughter, who is an adult in the future, figures out that if you get to the queen, you can come up with a serum that can get rid of them if you go back in time. Because everybody in her future winds up dying, but they're able to send him back in time to synthesize this cure. Long story short on that, they get back and realize that these creatures, it's not like they descended upon Earth in the future. The creatures are already here on Earth. They froze in the deep freeze, and global warming caused them to be thawed in Russia. Nita the Diva, I'll get with you. Pick up anywhere I left off because I left some things open for you guys to fill in the holes.
I know. I was just asking, is this spoiler free or are we getting into?
Oh no, it's spoilery, baby. It's spoilery. Ain't no need not being. It's spoiler free. Spoil it.
This is raw. This is raw with no protection.
None.
Ooh, baby, I like it raw.
No, Moochie. Give us your sound effect, Moochie. Oh, look. See, she do it in a way that I ain't doing it right. She do it with emotion.
You know, Moochie has that thunderclap.
Yeah, you gotta watch out.
Oh,
I really liked it. It was okay, because me critically thinking, for just an average viewer, I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was very entertaining. I liked the twist. I feel like it felt like 3 stories mushed together. It was like they kept going back in time. What I wondered about that serum that they got. Mm-hmm. The serum, I thought that they were going to use it when they actually came. Like when they came and went there, I don't think that they was prepared. They was not ready for that whole.
They didn't
may I intervene real quick, Nita?
They didn't tell them anything about what they was gonna see.
That was one of my problems with the story. That ending and the fact that you didn't prepare these people for what they was going to be dealing with. You didn't, because they said if we told you, you'd be too afraid to come. However, nobody goes to the military without knowing your enemy and how to defeat them. So they just dropped your boy in there. He didn't know where to shoot. He's shooting. These things look like they bulletproof. And your boy Aldous Hodge's brother had to tell him the neck and the stomach is how you take care of them. But at the very end, in this scene right here, I was frustrated by that because why are you trying to inject them versus throw a bomb all around the whole place and blow their ass up? That's all. Because they was trying to blow them up anyway.
Right. Yeah, remember some of them came out the fire before when remember they was running through the fire. Remember when they blew up that thing with the
the serum with the serum though. Blow them up with the serum.
Right.
The serum is what's going to kill them.
Right. You could have put some of that in there, had something on their little, whatever these little things are, the sacks they're in, inject them, and then just blow the whole thing up. Blow it up.
You didn't know how that was going to go. You don't know how that was going to play out. I just felt like I was like, oh no. Yeah. So it was some things that kind of frustrated me with that whole, the way that played out, because for some reason I kept saying I thought the mission was to be prepared for when they did attack. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was like mass produced so you could just be able to be ready when they did attack. But then they had to go do all this extra work trying to figure out they're already here, where they at, and all this other stuff. I was like, oh. So
I did like that part. A whole nother movie. I did like the part where and I knew that the black kid that was his student in the school, I knew they was going to use
Volcano Kid Martin.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. You automatically knew they was going to use Volcano Kid because he was just too smart and they was just ignoring him. So I knew when they started talking about Russia and the Ice Age, I already knew they was going to go back to him. So I'm kind of.
I like the fact that they had a lot of smart black educated people in this.
We've had smart black educated people for centuries, but we never gotten our shine till now. And we're still behind in getting that shine.
Exactly.
Big Larry, jump on in there with some things you like about the movie, things you didn't like, and then we'll punch it to Moochie.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, like that end scene there, I sort of didn't bother. The inconsistencies and some of the silliness didn't bother me because I wasn't really focused on it because I was thinking, it's aliens and people coming back from the future. With a whole bunch of stuff that's just sort of, you have to suspend your disbelief anyway. So I did. I was really more focused on the relationship with him and his father. And I just thought that was really great that here he is, like so angry with his dad over the years about his dad, his dad never really being there for him as a kid and sort of leaving and checking out because his dad was messed up over, after he came back from Vietnam. And then to have him come back and, or go to the future and find out that he basically did the same thing, and so to be able to go to his dad and sort of allow his dad to have some absolution, I think was really kind of nice. And it was they didn't really, they touched on it, they did it, but I felt like that could have been a bigger element in the story. I thought it would have been really nice if they worked on that a little bit more, but that was one of the things that I liked most about that, the later part of the movie, because honestly, before that, I was like, this movie's I like the movie a lot, but I was like, it's getting a little long. And when I hit pause on there and said, oh, damn, there's another 30, 40 minutes left, I was like, what are they going to do? And then when he went to his dad, I was like, okay, cool. Now we're going to see this relationship go down. And so, yeah, I was okay with it because of that relationship in the second half.
Okay. So. Okay. Cool, brother. Cool. Moochella, I want you to jump in here, but let me highlight something for the people real quick. So this is his daughter in the year 2022, where it takes place in the past. And this is his daughter, the colonel, the medical lead scientist in the future. And this is when she's about to die. And here's the queen attacking her, getting ready to push her ass right off the cliff. And he had to watch his daughter die in the future after hearing that story Larry told about how he left the mom and the daughter in the same way J.K. Simmons' character did him, because he couldn't deal with everything that happened when he came back from the war. Moochella, pick up on in there anywhere you want.
With this, I like the fact that him and his father repaired their relationship. I didn't like how when they took him to, when he got called to get drafted, I didn't like the way they wasn't telling him everything. I had a problem with that. Like, you want me to do all of this, but you not, like, everything's like a need to know, but you gonna tell me I'm gonna die in 7 years? But you're not gonna tell me how.
Yeah. The roughest part,
crazy to me.
The roughest part is when they failed, when they first went 30 years and how they failed. Something happened.
Yeah, did you see some of them hit the building?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Bruh. I'm sitting here like, how the heck you cannot send these people somewhere they don't know what they're dealing with. So
but
they lied to them.
Machine malfunction where they wasn't gonna land where they were supposed to land. They were supposed to land in the water, and right when everybody was taking off to go into the wormhole, it did some kind of malfunction where it was already set in motion where they couldn't stop it.
But
man,
you
like,
still,
they could have addressed it.
You still had these people thinking that they was going to be landing no more than 7 to 5 feet above ground, because that's what they told them. They said wherever you land, it's going to be no higher than 7 to 5 feet. Now, 7 feet is shack. That's still a long way to fall, depending upon how you fall. But you got these people thinking they're going to land like that when they go through. It's called the R Force. That's what they're calling their little time jump system and all that. When they land through that, they're thinking, okay, I'm going to be good. These people was hitting the top of the Empire State Building. Some of them.
They thought they was going to land in the ocean. They was hitting buildings and shit.
And then when they did land, Larry, this is what you had to look at. These things that shoot white spikes that can go through concrete. So you know they're going through flesh and bone.
Right. They ain't had no armor, no nothing.
Nothing. The only thing you had was a tracker. They gave
they didn't even give them helmets.
Nothing. They gave you an armband that would that would pull you through into the future and track your heart rate to make sure you're alive, and that's it. But I've got to ask you guys about this character right here. What did you guys feel like he added to the story? I'll go with you first, Larry.
I actually liked him. I thought his character was funny. He added a little bit of levity to the situation, because it's sort of like, here's this sort of goofy black dude who's very smart, runs a company, and has absolutely no military experience. And,
Zero.
and he's probably very much, because he didn't seem like he had any sort of violent tendencies to him. He's probably very much like a pacifist in the past, just not that type of dude. And then, and at one point he even said in there, I was embarrassed. He told him, I hid. And that's what a lot of people would do, and a lot of people have done throughout history. They've hid and they've survived. I mean, we have fight or flight, and some people fight, other people flee. And so, but we knew he was going to come into it. We knew he was going to play his role because he owned a company that just so happened to be a company that could mass produce this serum that they needed. And so he was able to be, we knew he was coming into effect, but we also got to see too. He was smart, but we also got to see he redeemed himself at the end by not hiding and by fighting. And he came in at the very last minute. And I think it was his dad. I think it was a dude's dad that he ended up saving at just the last minute. One of those white spikes were about to get him.
Yep, so. It sure was. Nita, how did you feel about the black brother?
I thought he was hilarious. He was so funny to me because it was like when they was in the little when they were in the research facility, and they was just about to make contact with them. Like they heard them. They saw they was in there, and when he was going down the steps saying shit, that's the exact, that would have been me. It was just so funny to me. It was hilarious. He was like comic relief for me. So yeah, I enjoyed him. He was good.
Moochie, what'd you think about him?
He was funny to me. He was really funny. Did y'all catch it that he said that his wife went first?
Yes.
Didn't come back.
Yes. I caught that. And I felt bad for the brother, and I'm sitting here thinking, you done lost your wife. You're really not a combat type of cat. And it was just amazing to me how Dan, who is played by Chris Pratt, just kind of took him under his wing and helped him out, because Dan liked him because he was a man of science. And so, that was something Dan was doing with his daughter, teaching her to be into the sciences. So I think that worked out well for them. But it also was a touching moment when they got up with Aldous Hodges' brother, and Dan was getting ready to have to go and meet his daughter as an adult. And he told him, look after this guy for me. Look after him for me. Ew, look at that thing. What would you do? Look at that. Look at that.
What I would have did, shit, just like a
right.
Just like him, yo.
And look at how they move.
It's interesting. They didn't really touch on it too much, but it wasn't random how they put these people together. They made it seem like they were selecting these people sort of at random and then just drafting them. But it clearly wasn't random how they were selected and what teams they were put on, because you have Chris Pratt's character, who's also a scientist, but he's also a combat veteran who's done two tours. And I think he was in like the forces. I think he was in special forces or something. Because he was. And so he had a lot of experience. He had a lot of experience in combat, and he was a scientist that was who was able to know what to look for, how to get stuff, how to work with all the sciencey stuff they were doing. And then on the other end, you had the black dude who also ran this company. And if they knew that they needed to mass produce this serum on that side, they knew that black dude was going to be able to get it done.
Yeah.
And so they did, but it's like if you're watching it and you're listening to the movie, you kind of get that gist, but they never really touched on it. They didn't talk about it a little bit. And I think that would have made sense to actually talk about why some of the people that were there were put together. I think it would have added something to the story a little bit.
You would think they would protect them a little bit more too, since they needed them in that kind of capacity.
Right.
Yeah, that's why Dan said that to Dorian to look out for this guy when they went without him.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's why they did it.
But he could have been one of them people that fell on top of the building and got his skull bust.
Well, that was a malfunction that they couldn't control. Yeah.
Right, that was out of their control. But
they couldn't control that.
Because they was getting them asses beat over there on the other side in the future by them white spikes. So I want to come to you guys and ask you, if you had to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being absolute hot garbage, and I'll start with you, Nita. How would you rate this movie?
7. I give it a 7.
Okay.
All right. And it's a weak 7. So I would say maybe 6.5, 7.
A 6.9, huh? Just barely under the tick. Moochie, what would you rate the movie?
I was gonna say an 8, but I mean, I liked it. I mean, it didn't really have parts where it dragged. I like the fact that they had him and his daughter have the little rapport where they was working together. Mm-hmm. And he realized what happened. He found out how he died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they set that up really nice.
I like Dorian's character because he was a badass. Where he was just like, "Yo, I got 6 months to live, and I'm not gonna live it, I'm not gonna live it back at home where I'm waiting to die."
Right. Yep. Yeah. So, what would you give it, Moochie?
I say an 8.
Okay.
I'm gonna stick with an 8.
I can stick with that. Larry, you got the last dibs, man. What would you give this movie?
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'd probably give it about a 7.5. It was good.
Wow, 7.5. My goodness. Yeah, wow.
It was good, and it was entertaining. it had definitely had some flaws to it. I think it was probably a little bit too long. I feel like for the length that it was, they could have given us a little bit more character development. They could have explored some of the relationships, between the people more, and they didn't. So I just they spent a fair amount of time on relationships with like the daughter and the father. I feel like they could have taken some of that time. I feel like we got enough of that. They could have taken that time and put some develop the relationship between like the soldiers that went over there. And to be honest with you, I was a little disappointed that the chick from, I can't remember her name, the one that played in 24. I was
Betty Gilpin. His wife. Was that his wife?
The one that went over as a soldier that was killed when she fell down through the
black chick.
No, the white chick.
The white chick.
White.
Yeah,
funny looking face a little bit.
So you had the heavy sack dude, and then the white chick that was.
Oh, when they fell in that thing.
Yeah. I was really disappointed when they killed her, because I was like, she's a known quantity. I just assumed because she was a known quantity, she was gonna live for a while, and they just sort of like that was one of those roles that like they could have given that role to like anybody. They could have given me that role, and I would have been just as like it's like it was kind of a waste of her talent to put her in that. They should have had her in something else. That's probably what made it good for some people, because I thought that she was gonna.
I thought she was gonna make it to the end.
Right. I'm sitting there saying to myself, "Ain't no way she about to die. She's too big of a talent." And off with her head, she died.
Yeah. So I was kind of hoping that she would, because I wanted to see her. I wanted to see more of her in there. I like her as an actor, and I wanted to see more of her in there, and we didn't. So that was a little disappointing. But yeah, I mean, it was there were definitely some good parts. I thought it was way too long for what it needed to be. I just think that, and honestly, I think that it was only this long because it was going straight to streaming. I think if this movie were going to be on the big screen in theaters, they would have cut this. They would have cut about 30 minutes off this movie.
Probably so. Yeah.
But it was good. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. But I can't. I mean, that's probably being generous, and part of that is because there's so many crap movies out there. Some of the movies that they've said they're coming out with straight to streaming on, like on HBO Max and Showtime and Disney. Some of them have been absolute garbage. And you think like, oh, they're putting these movies that would have gone to the theaters on streaming. I'm like, this movie probably would have tanked in the theaters because it's hot garbage. But this one was actually good. And if this movie was in the theaters, I think it would have done really good because it has all the elements of like a good, just like big screen, IMAX, lots of blowing stuff up and loud noises, all the stuff people love with these big experience movies. And I think it would have been fun like that. So, but I'll give it a 7.5.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving it a 7. For me, I enjoyed that it had more meat to the story than what you would typically experience with this type of action, thriller, horror, sci-fi. Well, not even horror, but more sci-fi type of movie than what you would normally get. I did like the dynamics between the father and the son and the father and his daughter. The score was nothing memorable. There was no memorable music about this whole thing. And the acting was fine. Acting was really good. I would even say the acting was pretty good because they did cast these characters together in these little teams when they send them to the future very, very well. The only drawback I have is the same one Larry and everybody else has said. It was too long. You could have revamped that whole extra 40 minutes left when they come back from the future with the serum, and then we find out that they are frozen in Russia and have been here for years before the first ice age. They've just been down there, but they've got to dethaw. I don't feel like it took a whole secret mission to go and handle that business. I felt like that could have been easily eradicated because you had already gotten everybody heartstrings pulled. You'd already gotten everybody fully invested in the movie to that point. But I will agree with this, what Larry was saying. If it would not have been for that, Larry, we would not have gotten more of the interaction between the father and his son. And so that probably was the whole setup for the whole dethawing the aliens, and we got to go attack them in their spot. It gave a chance for the father to basically come help the son come to his rescue. And then at the end, you saw that they started to build that relationship. So for me, ladies and gentlemen, the only reason I'm giving it a 7, and I can't go any higher, is just because it was just a little too long. But overall, you will be thoroughly entertained. Highly recommend that you see it. And when you do see it, be sure to come back here and leave us a comment, because I will make this an independent review with just us. So
let me ask you, would you have liked to have seen more of them together when they were training?
No. What I would have, I don't want to say, okay, let me couch this correctly. I would have liked to have seen them better prepare for the aliens. And I don't want to say that I need to see them going through the drills of training, but I did want to see, okay, what are their weaknesses? How can we attack the enemy? I needed you to expand a little bit more on how we're going to win this mission, other than we're going to suck you through the portal. You're going to drop about 5 to 7 feet from your destination, and we can't tell you what you're fighting because you're not going to want to go.
Basically, they just dropped them in the water and said sink or swim.
That was terrible.
That's exactly what they did. And to me, the guy, Dorian should have told them about how to kill them when they was looking to see were they around yet. That's when he should have been like, look, this is how you got to kill them. He was like, no, you just got to run from them.
Yeah, he could have took advantage of that.
I didn't understand that part.
See, I was thinking if they would have given us like a 10-minute training scene where they show them, maybe fighting something, and teaching people how to use weapons, because there's a lot of these people who had absolutely no military experience whatsoever, and they're basically saying you're going to do a 7-day tour. All you have to do is basically survive, and so I think if they would have given them a little bit of training, and within this training, you could have had it funny, a little bit of levity, where you have people like the black dude who knows nothing about guns, and he's up there with his clip falling out and all the other stuff, and they could have then had a session where they're all in their, maybe in their dorms or whatever, talking about what they do, and you could have gotten a little bit of backstory about, I run this company, and somebody else could have been like, I'm a school teacher, somebody else doing whatever. You would have gotten to know the soldiers a little bit better, because for the most part, like when that one chick got killed, I like her as an actress, so I wanted to see her more, but when other people got killed, I didn't care because I didn't know them. You have to let people know you, but you have to get them to know the character so they care when they die, And they could have done that in maybe like 10 minutes. And that would have made it, that would have made the movie a little less long for me.
Okay. But overall, we still highly recommend this movie. Amazon Prime, go check it out.